forgot to hit record. So, in a sense, we're going to start over. I don't think anybody's here. So, this is my show. I do what I want to do. Awesome. But yeah, what does it take for making your goals happen, to make it a reality? A little bit of forethought, a little bit of time. Just to actually sit down. Like I said, with the possible vacation days are definitely a bonus, but you don't always need to have vacation days. If you have a cool boss or you have a schedule that you can ask off in advance, that's super helpful. And then sit down and actually think, to yourself with a pen and paper, an Excel document, whatever. What is actually something that I really want to do versus something I'd like to do? So, I would like to go to Hawaii, but is there anything there in Hawaii that I really, really must do? Not really. So it's not really like a major goal to me. It's just something I'd like to do. Now, if it was something that I was like, man, I really want to see, like, I think they have like a jungle, they have volcanoes, like, I want to meet the people and try the food. Okay, well, then I would actually sit down and be like, okay, when's the best time to go? Like, when's the cheapest flight? How much is a hotel going to cost? How much is the hotel and the flight going to cost? How much is just your average travel money? Like, you stop in ABC. Okay, is this actually realistic? Is this actually what I want to do? You start doing that. Well, if you sit down and think of a goals list, no matter how silly it might be, you actually stop to like ponder and assess, like, hey, this is a priority to me. Or, this is just a passing fancy. Like, I have a goals list. It's over here on my wall because I like to look at it every now and again just to keep myself honest. I think I'm up into the 80s now of like amount on my list, and I think I've knocked off like 20, 25 of them. But that's just a good reminder to kind of like keep it hanging up on your wall. All right, so here is my process. This is what I do. So obviously I'm gonna read a little bit off my slides, but then I'm gonna elaborate. So every winter I go over to my goals list that I said is on my wall, and I look through it and I think of like, all right, what I kind of like generally have planned out for this year. Whether it's, hey, I've been depleting my savings, so I don't have a lot of money. Hey, I don't have vacation days, so like I gotta be like local, or it can't be like a long week, off or whatever. Whatever, say your friend's getting married, like, so you got to be around for that, or maybe you're getting married, or those random variables that come up every year. So I go check out my goals list, look at that, see what I think is realistic, see what's something that possible for that year. If I have, or if you have any friends that are kind of like goal setters as well, like I'm trying to get my two friends here kind of more engaged, more into setting goals and making a plan. So like my goal number 4 is actually one that I want to do with a friend, because I asked him to make choose 3, and this was one of the ones that he wanted to do. And I'm definitely one of those guys where if I say I'm going to do something, I'm there. I'm there for you. I'm going to do it with you. Because I can't stand people that are always like, yeah, let's do it, and then the time comes and they back out. Or again, this is part of like the process of the planning. They say they want to do it, and then you pick a day and a time, and they're like, oh, I don't have money, or oh, I couldn't get the day off. Well, they didn't ask for it off in advance. They didn't start saving money. Like, this stuff doesn't just fall in your lap. You got to actually think about it. I write down, I try to write down five to six goals. You're not going to get them all, but write them down. For me, I do not like winter at all. I don't like cold. That's kind of why I moved to the south. After basically when baseball season ends, I just go into like full grind mode. So I don't ask off any days, any extra hours, late time that I can get. I work straight through February, which we're in February now, so we're about to come to spring, kind of like the fun stages, the planning stages, and stuff like that. So don't use any vacation days. Work those holidays that nobody else wants. Get your time and a half. Save your money. That's the time to do it. So for me, I always wait for the Cardinals schedule to come out, or not the schedule, the promo schedule. Very important. That's the one that comes out where it says like, hey, we're gonna have bobbleheads this game. We're gonna have a cool hat, free jerseys, stuff like that. I That's what I always center my trips around, because I don't live in St. Louis or I don't live in Cincinnati. These are not short trips for me. They're like the closest one I have is probably Atlanta, which is probably like hour 40 drive depending. So like these are not that one's not bad, but like if I'm driving to Cincinnati or St. Louis, those are trips. Those are like I'm not doing that in a day. I'm probably going there, watching the game, and coming back. So like, if I'm gonna do this, I better get my money and I better get my value. So I want a good matchup and I want a good promo. So for the Cardinals, if I'm going up there, I always try to figure out what are the best ones. So I have in my Excel sheet, like I said, I have probably like 4 or 5 games that are circled and I have put on my calendar that I want to go and see. But after that, you kind of spread them out, which ones. And I mean, they do a great job of that when they do in their promo schedules. I So my second thing, I find the new ballpark that I want to target. So this year, really, I mean, since like the last couple of years, like last year, I went and did Cleveland because it's on when this we had the shortened season, 2020. I was gonna go to Fenway and I was gonna see the Cardinals there. Well, then in 21, Cardinals were no longer in Fenway, so it kind of got skipped. But now this year, the Cardinals are back in Boston at Fenway, so I picked that one. I have a friend that lives in the area. He's cool for me to come visit. So now, again, get the wheel spinning. We got to start planning. We got to start the whole process. And this is definitely one that we're about to discuss as an example. So yeah, we marked that off on the calendar. I think it's in June 3rd. I look up all the events that I want to take part of. So like, I always try to get off. Like, there's like a tight window where it's like WrestleMania, opening day, my birthday, and then there's usually like something else going on. But then like last year we did a mud run, we did a rugged maniac in August, so we want to do that one probably again this year. And again, this is going to affect one of the goals that I'm going to talk about here in a minute. But you sprinkle in kind of these, like, you don't really go anywhere, but they're events, so you want to make sure like you get your right shift for it, or you actually need the day off. You ask for it in advance, even if it's just a half day. So, and then you sprinkle those kind of into your calendar. Like I said, whether this is a piece of paper that you write it on, an Excel document, I put them on my actual calendar. Like, not actually, it is this calendar right over my shoulder. And then the fourth one, based on your expenses, I start to plan out my goals around them and spread them apart. So, like I said, you don't want to have, say, like we're going like March to August, right? You don't want to have like your whole month of April just full jam packed of events and then nothing like by. You want to kind of spread them out. So like for me, it's kind of like, okay, well, I have maybe like a wrestling event, and then like a baseball game, and like whatever else happens, because I have some friends coming to visit, sprinkle those in there, stuff like that. So that way it's like your whole summer is just kind of like you're not exhausted from all of like going out doing stuff. You're not spending all your money at one time. Like, they're kind of little chunks here and there, so it's a lot easier to budget. So that's kind of how I do it. Now I'm gonna go over the SMART model just kind of briefly, because like, so SMART is a great model. I feel like the ART sometimes kind of blend, and I'm not gonna say that I'm perfect at this system, but if you look there on the screen, S specific. If we're gonna use like the weight model or whatever, like, all right, you're gonna lose 20 pounds by what date? Like, what, like, how are you gonna do it? Like, to arms, like, are you gonna you gotta make sure you measure yourself. So like measurables. Of weight, you gotta measure that if you want to, like, say you want to increase your biceps or you want to lose some fat around your stomach or something. Like, you gotta measure that stuff. You can't just say like, oh, I'm gonna lose weight, and then 3 months later you're like, I think I lost weight. Like, no, you gotta actually like measure yourself, weigh yourself, do all this stuff. So then it goes kind of like attainable. Set many goals to gauge your progress. So if you're doing like again, a month or a March to August or like a 6 month thing, you need to have a check halfway through at least, like probably even a quarter way through if it's something like that, where you need to see like, all right, am I on the right track? Because you don't want to waste 6 months and then be like, I didn't lose any weight. I gained weight. Like, you need to have those little check-ins to be like, okay, like this is working, but this isn't. Or hey, I thought I was more motivated to work out. Maybe like I need to work out the same amount, but I need to have more reps. Like, so attainable and kind of realistic. Again, if we're going back to weight, if you weigh 180 pounds and you're like, I want to lose 80 pounds, that's not realistic. That's not healthy. And then also like financially possible. So like some of the, I guess since we're streaming, some people are like, oh, well, I want to have 1,000 followers and blah blah blah. It's like, you have 12 followers right now. Do you really think you're gonna get 1,000 followers in a year or whatever it is? Not really realistic. I mean, unless you're gonna stream every day, 12 hours a day. But again, I don't think that's realistic. Your content's not very good. I mean, if you've seen enough of these YouTube videos, you know you need to like diverse and all that other stuff. So it's like, what else are you gonna do? And then timely. Again, if we go back to the weight thing, you have to have a deadline. And then by that deadline, you kind of judge, was I a success, a failure? Did I lose weight? And then maybe you reassess. Say like you want to lose 20 pounds and you lost 15. Okay, well let's either keep on this program a little bit longer, or let's go a little bit harder, or maybe you adjust it just a little bit and maybe you can get to your goal eventually. But the weight, by setting a timely or an end date, then you actually you see progress, you see results. You don't just constantly keep going and then suddenly it's like, I've been trying to lose weight for 2 years, but you never actually like set a time to like check yourself and see your progress. Because like who knows, you maybe it's wedding season and you get a lot of good tasty food. That'll set you back. But like I said, smart model. If you're new to this, it's kind of helpful. It can be tough, but it's definitely a good starting ground for you. We're gonna go over some of my goals now, and I kind of try to use the smart model as best I can. But this way, it's a little bit easier to digest.
How soon can we have the ship ready to pursue?
Do you think he plans it all out? Or just makes it up as he goes along?
So goal number 1 for me, and this is the number 17 on my goals list, is to visit. On there when I wrote it, it was actually 25 ballparks because I wasn't sure if I was going to get to like Toronto in that Northeast, because I still haven't been there. But now if I update it, I really just want to go see them all, and I got about 10 left. So I'm judging this not on just ballparks that I've seen, but ballparks that I've seen games in. So I had to throw Baltimore back on there. I had to throw Texas back on there. So for me, goal number 1, visit a new ballpark. As I said previously, I want to visit Fenway in Boston this year. It must be a live baseball game, not just like a ballpark tour. Measurable. So I need to have $600 saved up for flight and expenses by May 15th. Because the way that my work schedule kind of works, they have like availability up until, I want to say it's 3 months out. So I can't ask off work right now here in February if the game's in June. So I got to wait, a couple months. So in this time, I also need to start saving. So when I looked at flights now, and they'll probably go up a little bit more because it's in summertime. I think flights were around they were around 500 when I checked like 2 days ago. So I need to have that amount by May, because then as we go on to the A, I need to request off June 16th through the 20th. I should have, that would be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and I always have Saturdays and Sundays off anyway, at least currently in this job. So A, request off those days. The schedule opens in April, so I put that on my phone, like, hey, when this date pops up, make sure you request these days off. Rich is the guy that I'm going to be staying with. If you've been in chat before, I've mentioned him a million times probably. He stopped by us for some of the wrestling events. He's not a big Twitch guy, so I got to double check with him just to make sure that he's available. Coaches, he could be on the road, so double check. Guess he's the guy I'd be staying with. Is it realistic? Yes. This is totally realistic for me. As long as I attempt to save up money, like my budget's really tight right now, I should be fine because I have somebody that I can go stay with. That's an expense that I don't have to worry about. I do have money in my savings, as I wrote on the slide. One thing I'd have to worry about would be future new jobs, because by kind of that like June, July, even August, this is the next goal on the slide. I'd like to start a new career. So that's one of those things where as long as you mention these in like interviews, most of them are cool to be like, hey, yeah, I can start this date, but just to let you know, like, I have a wedding or I have this that I gotta go to. Most of them, as long as you tell them in the interview, they're like, oh, that's fine. That's like a weekend, no big deal. That's one of those things that like the only setback really for being realistic that it might not work. And then see the timely. Well, the Cardinals are in Boston from June 17th to the 19th. Like I said, I think that's like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that's the exact time that I need to be there. So that one's really easy because it's just, seeing a game. This is number 48 on my list because I've worked so many different jobs, have such a variety of skill sets. But there comes a time when finally you're like, you know what, I just want that, whether it's a 9 to 5 or whatever, like I want that career job where I'm happy or content with what I do. and I make good money enough to like take care of myself. Like I've had those two jobs. I've had those jobs that like you make enough money but you hate. I've had those jobs that you like but you don't make enough money. Well, I think studying and kind of doing web development stuff, I think this is actually like a realistic possibility this year. So my, measurables and such, I want to have that new job started by July. And it's July 10th specifically because I have some friends that are coming to visit for the 4th of July. Show them around, show them a good time. And then after kind of that's all said and done, then that's hopefully when I have that window to between jobs, start up a new job. And then obviously days are the measurables because got to finish school. By March 15th for the mini goals. March 15th I need to be 75% of the way through. And then after that they have like a job prep thing. Because right now I think I'm scheduled to finish May 1st, but I think May 2nd is technically like a day or something. And then the job prep, you have 30 days after that finishes. So I want to have that done by June 1st. My current schedule to keep on this pace, 4 days a week, and I have an extra day for meetings. So like Wednesday and Sunday are kind of my extra days. Wednesdays for meetings, Sundays for any extra stuff that I need to do. Luckily I don't have one today. I do have one tomorrow. And then kind of like the realistic, it's realistic because this part of why I went into it. This is a very like heavily needed industry. Like there's more jobs than there are workers, basically what I'm saying. And even though like in my schoolwork, like I've been stuck on this one assignment for like 2 weeks now, trial and error. So I'm a little bit behind right now, but there is definitely some easier achievements that are coming up that aren't going to take as long. And so I'm kind of where I need to be, maybe slightly behind. The fact that I know that and I'm keeping tabs on it, I can always skip a stream. I can always do some stuff on the week. My tutor and my mentor have been really good, and they've been pretty solid at getting back to me on time. So usually every day I'm working on something. So it's just one of those chip away here, chip away there. And then, like I said, it's timely. I want to have it by June 10th to like August time period because you're gonna have to do some interviews. Like part of my program is it's a job guarantee as long as you finish all the job prep stuff. But you don't necessarily want to just hop into the first job that you get. You want to kind of see what my options are, negotiate contracts. Ideally for me, I would like to have remote, or if it's not remote, have something that's kind of nearby here, because this is definitely growing into a very popular place for remote and tech jobs just because our Wi-Fi is so good. But yeah, that is goal number 2. I want to rescue a dog. A little bit more lighthearted, not as serious, but it is number 7. It's always something that I wanted to do. I grew up with pets my whole life. My first roommate was actually my brother, and he had a dog. And I mean, I've lived near my brother majority of my life, so I've always kind of had that as like the uncle role for the dog. And there's a couple of different places around here, but I actually think that the Chattanooga Humane Society, Educational Society, is probably the best one. And I hear a lot of good things from them, and they do a lot of fundraising and stuff like that. It's also the time needs to be kind of July, August, because that's about the time that my lease expires and when I would sign a new one. And the way that it works here is you pay an amount that covers the entire lease. So if I got a dog right now and paid the lease, it would only run until my lease runs out. So I'd have for like a couple more months. Good, yeah. If I'm good till August, I mean it's about half a year. But moving on to the next one, like I need to have some money saved, and I don't really want to have another dog expense while I'm kind of paying for school. So once school's done, that expense goes away. Then it kind of goes towards the dog. So our measurables, just time and money. Moving on, I want to have 200 saved by May 1st. Need to request off August 15th to the 19th. Again, put that in my phone, July 1st. Start, submit these days. And then I want to have 500 saved up for the shots, equipment, apartment fees, all that other stuff. Is it realistic? Yes, of course it is. Because I was gonna start fostering dogs, and then there was kind of an issue in my apartment complex where they were gonna make me pay for this dog down payment. And I was like, just to foster dogs, like I just want to do this like a couple times a year over the weekend. And they were like, yep, you still got to pay for it. So I was like, all right, I'm not gonna do it then. And then since I am in an apartment, we do have a weight restriction, so that's something that I need to double check, make sure what the like maximum weight is, because I would hate to get attached to a dog and love him, and then them be like, yeah, he's too big, you got to get rid of him. Like it would break my heart. So then, the timely, we have on the schedule the 13th of August is when the next Rugged Maniac is, and basically all the people that would be my dog sitters would be coming with me. So I would really be, I mean, unless I just left him here, but I think that'd be terrible to do if, like, I just got him and left him alone the whole day. So I want to finish that event and then take like a week off, get used to each other, get a routine going, everything like that, and then kind of, if I have to crate training and all stuff like that, like it's kind of like having, your first kid, take time off, maternity leave, all that such. It's kind of like the same thought process in my mind. Like I'd want to take a week off, get used to one another, get things situated, make sure I got everything I need. Like, oh, I forgot his food, boom, got go get some. Like, no issues. So that one's that one, and then the fourth one's just kind of like more silly, but like I said, it's one of my friends' goals, and I want to make sure that it happens. So goal number 4, we're gonna go kart as Mario and Luigi with my friend Eli. He's kind of a younger guy, but I talked to him and was like, hey, we need to start talking about goals, things we want to do for the summer. Because I'm not one of those, like, I can be spontaneous and shoot from the hip. I still have those nights. I still do that stuff. Like, hey, let's go do this, and it happens. But the things that are silly and take a little bit more planning and more thinking, like, yeah, sure, we could randomly go to like Walgreens or some thrift shop and try to find Mario and Luigi costumes. Probably by the time we do find a full costume, go-kart place probably gonna be closed because it's not gonna be that easy. We're gonna go-kart. There's a place called Sir Goonies that has, from what I read, like they have go-karts, but they have these things where like they're like car sensors. So like if you run over something with your car, you can like slow down the next car that hits it or something. Like I don't even know, but it sounds a blast, and I think this sounds hilarious. This would be a great video, great video, great time. But in terms of like the planning and stuff, okay, we need to go get the clothes. I think I have a red polo that I can use because I'll probably be Mario because he's way taller than me, so he needs to be Luigi. But yeah, we need to have our outfits and such kind of ordered or figured out by like June 1st. Need to double check with Eli to make sure he's got the day off because he does work weekends where I don't. By June, again, this is where I'm kind of finishing up some like school job prep stuff. So I will even probably have to double check. But this is around the time where it's Eli's birthday, so this would kind of be like birthday shenanigans fun. Because he'll probably do stuff with his family. This will be the week after that. And then realistic, this is going to be like probably the easiest one to do. Because it doesn't take a lot of time, doesn't take a lot of money. Just a little bit of, like I said, forethought and planning. And then we'll make this happen. So yeah, those are my goals coming forward for this year. This is kind of like the thought process behind it. Like I said, I have some smaller stuff. I have like a whole thing just for baseball. I have a whole thing just for streaming. I have a whole thing just for school. But like I plan stuff out. I use my Excel spreadsheet to the max. For this video, if you need any help with your goals, just hop into my Discord, message me on Twitter. We can talk about stuff like that. Or we can talk about what your goals are and how to define them a little bit better. Because a lot of people are really too vague on this stuff.